Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. Tonight we're doing the Raw after the Royal Rumble, which for the most part went pretty good. We pissed off a couple broadcasters, but outside of that, the Royal Rumble got an 80 rating. Everybody seems happy with it, and it's even a notable factor that the Royal Rumble was successful. So before I jump into the card, if you guys could leave a like on the video and drop me a sub, that would definitely be appreciated. It definitely helps the channel and it also helps get the video out there. So if you guys could do that, I would very much appreciate it. And let's jump right into this card. So we're starting off with our first pre-show match. I have AJ Styles facing off against Stevie Richards. Stevie picked up the win. It got a 49 rating, which for a pre-show match is decent, I would say. And AJ got an in-ring performance of 40, so that's pretty good. So I think probably within the next couple of weeks, maybe even sooner, we're gonna bring him up to the main roster because he's somebody I definitely think would be a good fit for the main roster at this point. Then in another pre-show match, we have Spike Dudley facing off against Sean O'Haire. Spike picked up the win. The match did pretty similar to the last pre-show match, and Sean O'Haire is another guy that I want to bump up pretty soon, so I think we're gonna go ahead and do that within the next couple of weeks, as well as AJ Styles. And then in our final pre-show match, I had Molly Holly face off against Jacqueline. Molly needed some momentum, so I figured this would be the perfect way to give her some momentum. I do want to give Jackie some momentum as well because she's also in the negative, but she was the only other face that I currently have other than Trish at the moment, so I had to use Jackie in this match. I also ended up sending Nicole Bass to OVW because she needed to work on her skills a little more than I originally thought. So now in our opening segment, I did this as a freestyle, but pretty much this is just a recap of Raw's Royal Rumble matches. Pretty much just going over, we had a couple matches that were for titles, and then we had people that were in the Royal Rumble, so I figured that would be a good opening segment, and it got a 90, so that definitely did work out for us. Then in our opening match, we have Trish Stratus facing off against Victoria. Trish picked up the win, and I actually booked this match as a storytelling match, so hopefully they finally don't yell at us for not booking a storytelling match. And next we have an angle where Eric Bischoff comes out and he announces that Raw is officially bringing back the Intercontinental title. So we have a small tournament for it. Pretty much Chris Jericho, RVD, Christian, and Booker T are involved. We're gonna have 2 single matches tonight between them, and whoever wins will move on and face each other for the Intercontinental Champion. I'm not really sure why they have it set as like inactive at the beginning for these titles, because the United States is the same way, but I figured why not bring them back because we could use more titles on our shows. And then we have a match between Rhino and Val Venus. Rhino picks up the win. He's somebody that I also want to continue to build and grow, so gave him just a random singles match because we needed something to fill out the card anyway. It got a 67, which for these two's popularity isn't that bad. Which I should also mention too, because Val Venus was Chief Morley up until this point, but I don't remember exactly when he went back to being Val Venus, but I kind of liked the Val Venus gimmick better anyway, so I decided to just bring it back. I did forget to change the actual gimmick part itself, so I'll probably do that next time he's in a match. And next we have an interview angle with Terry. She started interviewing Devon and Bubba Ray, congratulating them on their title victory, and then of course William Regal and Lance Storm come and interrupt, and they all bicker at each other. The angle didn't really do too good, but I think part of it's because these guys don't really have great pop. Not even Devon and Bubba, which I'm kind of surprised, because maybe this is when they started not being used as much, but it seemed kind of weird to me that they weren't at least 70. And then after that interview, we have a tag team match. Bubba Ray and Devon are facing off against Batista and Randy Orton. Batista ended up picking up the win after Ric Flair interfered. And then we also had William Regal run in and attack Bubba Ray because William Regal is still upset about not winning the tag team titles. So basically both Ric Flair and William Regal cost the Dudleys their match tonight. It wasn't a title match anyway, so they are still the tag team champions. And then we have an interview pretty much just hyping up Goldberg. I still gotta figure out who I want him in a rivalry with. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. And then we have our first tournament match between Booker T and Christian. Booker T picks up the win, and he will be moving on to the final match to face off for the Intercontinental Champion. And next we have an angle, pretty much just Ric Flair's congratulating Batista and Randy Orton for their win. Even though they didn't exactly earn their win, he's still, yeah, y'all totally won the match fair and square. And next we have kind of just a random tag team match because I needed to use Kane and Scott Steiner somewhere. So we have these two facing off against Lance Storm and William Regal. Kane picks up the win. It's kind of a karma match in a way for Bubba Ray and Devon because now Lance Storm and William Regal also lost in tonight's match, and it actually got an 81 rating, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's kind of funny to note too that William Regal actually had a better in-ring performance than Scott Steiner, and they had Scott Steiner in the rivalry against Triple H, which I know that's what happened in real life, but it's just kind of funny to see that, especially because they're always complaining about William Regal being boring. And then in the next angle, we had Chris Jericho come out right before his match. He's talking trash to the crowd. It's letting them know that he's going to be the new Intercontinental Champion after all of this is over. And then in our main event, we had Chris Jericho face off against RVD. Chris Jericho picks up the win, which means he will be facing Booker T for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm either going to do it next week or the next pay-per-view. Let me know in the comments which one you guys would rather. And then I almost forgot too, we have a segment here between Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Pretty much Shawn Michaels comes out, he tells Triple H that he deserves a title shot at WrestleMania. Then Triple H comes out and he accepts the challenge, so at WrestleMania we will be having Shawn Michaels facing off against Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. It got a 99 rating, so that's pretty awesome, and I'm pretty confident that this is going to be one of our best Raws so far, so let's find out how we did. 85, so yeah, that definitely, if that wasn't the best Raw, it is at least the second best Raw, so pretty much we gained popularity in 19 regions, there's no complaints, so that is pretty awesome, and I am happy with this card. So let's go ahead and jump over to see if we have any emails or anything like that. So it looks like we have some emails and possibly a signing. Hopefully it's not like an incident. Rob Conway wants to be brought up to the main roster. I don't know if he's ready yet. Oh no, we have a injury from Heat. So D'Lo Brown sustained an injury from Ron Simmons. That's the second injury Ron Simmons has given, so that's pretty interesting to note. Let's see how long D'Lo Brown is out. I think if we go to the physical, it's showing no signs of fatigue. It doesn't really say, so maybe it's just a minor injury, so he won't be out too long, or rather he won't be out at all, but we'll probably just not have to use him for a little bit. And then Bubba Ray thinks Lance Storm doesn't connect with the fans. It's kind of funny too, because these two are in a rivalry, and he's just like, I don't want to work with Lance Storm, so I'm just gonna delete all of these. I don't think Rob Conway is ready. Maybe we'll put him in a pre-show match, but yeah, I don't think he's ready. And then, that's right, I forgot. I started contract negotiations with Vampire Warrior, aka Gangrel, so we're gonna go ahead and assign him. We'll leave him a heel for now because that seems pretty fitting, so let's go ahead and complete the contract, and we're gonna have to wait 7 days in order to actually book him for anything. I also did start contract negotiations with Sable, and then Raven and D'Lo Brown still haven't decided if they want to re-sign with us or not. So now really quickly, I'm gonna go ahead and do a creative meeting because I don't think I've done one since I've started this series, so this gives us a good idea where we're pretty much at with our superstars, who we need to work on, and all of that good stuff. So right now our franchise players seem pretty straightforward. Obviously Triple H, Shawn Michaels are the top two, then we got Undertaker, who just recently came back from an injury, and then Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle. So now if we go through, there's a bunch of different categories. So the next big things, these are pretty much people that they predict will be our future biggest stars, which I'm kind of actually liking the list we have here, because we have John Cena, Molly Holly, and Rhino. Which John Cena was definitely a given, because around this time he was growing to become one of the next top WWE superstars. And then Molly Holly's actually kind of pretty cool, because even though they didn't really push her that much, I'm definitely okay with pushing her on here, because I'd like to grow a stronger women's division, and I think Molly Holly definitely deserved a better push than they gave her in real life. And the same actually goes for Rhino, which I think he's another one that we're going to try to grow into a main eventer, so I think that'll be pretty awesome. So now hot prospects are pretty much people that they think we can grow into future stars, not necessarily as main eventers, but more than just like jobbers and openers, which it's kind of funny to see Johnny Stimboli on here, because I didn't really have any ideas for him, but maybe I'll try to get him at least to the mid-carder level. And then Spanky's another good one, which I'm gonna probably just rename him to Brian Kendrick, because I don't remember him actually even using the name Spanky in the WWE. And then Nydia, I haven't really done much with her yet, but since we need more women for the women's division, she's definitely a good one to go ahead and push. And then Talk to Talk, this is I guess pretty much just people with the highest in-ring skill on the microphone, which pretty much makes sense because these are all the people that you would typically expect to have the best microphone skills. And then Showstoppers is another one that pretty much these are our top guys in the ring. Ring Generals, kind of the same idea. And then Who's Hot, this is pretty much people that have the highest momentum right now, which pretty much Brock Lesnar is a given, because he may have lost one match, I think, so far, but he's been winning pretty much every week. Same with everybody else on this list. So now Who's Not is kind of an important one, because this is people that some of them, like Ron Simmons, I don't really have too many ideas for, but somebody like Rob Van Dam I definitely want to get off of this list. And then Time Decline is pretty much our older superstars that they're thinking we probably shouldn't use as much, mainly because they're older and they're more likely to get injuries, which this list is pretty obvious because a lot of these guys at the time were getting ready to either slow down in the amount of matches they did or getting ready to retire, which I never realized how old Rico actually was, so it's kind of interesting to see him on this list. And then Hidden Gems, this is pretty much people that aren't signed to our show at the moment, but they're people that they think we could sign and push into future WWE superstars. Which at the moment, looking at this list, I probably will consider most of these guys. I'm not actually sure who Joey Ryan is, but he could be a decent superstar for us. Ken Anderson, obviously he came into the WWE a few years later as Ken Kennedy. Then we have Mike Awesome, the Blue Meanie, and then Steve Corino, which off camera I've tried to sign Steve Corino before, but he's like an indie guy, so half the time he doesn't really want to sign for long. So we may sign him or we may not. I'm not really sure yet. So that's gonna be all for today's episode of TEW. I gotta like take care of these. I'll probably just give everybody a bonus or something like that. But if you guys have any suggestions for who I should hire next, let me know in the comments. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you guys have a really wonderful day. Bye. I almost forgot too, this is just a really quick, just to show you guys how Heat went. It was actually pretty horrible, but this is the match that ended up getting D'Lo Brown injured, so yeah, just wanted to throw that in really quickly. Now, it's the end of the video.